Then what is he hibernating for? Hmm. Most likely to regain his strength, preparing for the next fight. So, um, Junior, can I ask another question? Sure. Where did Junior got that scar on his left leg? Junior looked and saw what Ruby was looking at. Oh, I might have to get you out of here for this, cause this one's kind of personal. Okay. Junior took Ruby into another room, far away. Well, not too far away from Junior, but further away from him where he can't hear the conversation. If he actually ended up hearing the conversation. He got that from a fight between a certain group of kaiju called the Kongs. The Kongs? Yes, the Kongs. There was actually a ancient war a long time ago, actually. A war? Yes, a war. A war that my husband and I were a part of. Want me to explain? Sure. Garcher took a deep breath and let it out. Okay. It began millions of years ago, where the Earth was still young and, well, when kaiju were still new to the planet. Our kind, the Titanus gorgira, I thought you guys don't like to be called Titans. No, we don't. We like being called Titans. It's just that that's what we sometimes prefer to call our species name. Oh, species name. Okay, continue. Anyways, the Titanus gorgiras were the most strongest, most powerful, and the most feared kaiju on the planet. The majority of the kaiju realized that bowing was the right choice. Of course, there were a few kaiju to propose a threat to us. Those were the Mudos. For a long period of time, we expected a new kaiju to rise and try to propose a threat to us. We remain as the number one most dominant species of the planet. We respected people, we were kind to other people, we were respectful, we were kind to other people. That was until one turn of event happened. What happened? The great asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs? That destroyed everything. The majority of the kaiju and the majority of our kind had to move down to the Hollow Earth to feed on the greater radiation. Of course, the majority of our kind made claim to this new land. Everything was peaceful. until the mammals start to evolve, replacing the dinosaurs. Especially one group of mammals called humans start to evolve. Did this happen after the god of light and darkness disappeared? I think so. I don't quite remember. Anyways, most of humans much of the ancient humans moved down into the hollow earth, and they learned to respect and worship the kaiju down there as, well, gods. The majority of the ancient humans were, of course, worshipping us. But eventually, a new kaiju species evolved, one that was very similar to the human race. The Kongs, the Titanus Kongs. The Kongs, being much more intelligent, being more evolved than other kaiju, they kind of started to populate very quickly. Of course, they had a much more shorter lifespan in comparison to all other kaiju, but besides that, their wisdom and knowledge was passed on to every single Kong. They were even smart enough to build weapons, very similar to how humans build weapons. Of course, the Kongs were trapped on an island. Of course, when they discovered, well, you know the island. Yeah, Skull Island. Well, the Kongs were tired of living on their island. Plus, their island wasn't big enough for them back then. The Kongs, discovering the Hollow Earth entrance, decided to go down there and take a look. Of course, when that happened, the Kongs found a much more larger landscape. More land, more food, more supplies, more resources, everything. The Kongs wanted to leave their island, learning that the Hollow Earth entrances can take them to other places. They tried to do that, but ended up encountering other kaiju along the way. And what happened was the Kongs actually started to abuse the other kaiju who minded their own business. Ruby was shocked to hear that. Every single Kong? Almost every single Kong. Not all the Kong ended up abusing all the kaiju who lived down there in the Hollow Earth. But the rest, they were abusing every kaiju they encountered. Of course, this got word to us. I believe Heisei, Goji, and I were quite young when this happened. I'm pretty sure we were kids when it happened, but one kaiju told the alpha of the Titanus Gorgera species, told them what was going on. He grew furious and found a scouting party of Kongs. What was his name? Who? The Godzilla? His name was Dagon. Dagon was the alpha of the Gorgera species. He was more respectful and more kind to other people than in comparison to all of his other species. But when he got angry, you did not want to be near him when he got angry. Dagon found the little scouting party of the Kongs and took care of it because of for one, their size, they were way too small. They were about to his, bit more up to his chest, basically. Dagon was massive. He was more bigger than any other Godzilla that we encounter. More bigger than any other Godzilla. Besides that, Dagon took care of that and hopefully used this as a message to the other Kongs. Of course, when the other Kongs found their charred remains of their scouting party, they grew furious. They want to locate this new threat and get rid of it. Of course, the Kongs discovered that the humans, their smaller counterparts, worshipped the Gorgiras and made sort of little castles for them. Little structures, stone statues of them. The Kongs did not appreciate this. And so the Kongs, not wanting to be told what to do by these creatures, by so-called the King of the Monsters, they decided to declare war on the Gorgira species. It happened one night when we were all asleep. That was when the Kongs started to attack us. But thankfully, with our greater power, pure raw strength and power, we were managed to overcome the Kongs. Of course, it didn't mean they killed a few of us in the process, but Dagon knew that this meant war. And so, the Great Titan War began. The war lasted for about 200 years. 200 years? A long time. By the time me and Heisei Goji grew up, we were close to the end of the war, actually. Of course, the Kongs tried their best to overcome and overpower us, but we were too powerful for them. They can pummel their enemy to death, but there was nothing that they can do to, when it comes to a hot blue of fire and death coming at you, that was harder than the sun. Basically, the Kongs were useless when it came to our kind using our atomic breaths. The Kongs were losing the war like crazy. We rather wanted to drive them out of the Hollow Earth and send them back where they came from, or just kill them off completely. The Kongs were losing numbers, and they were losing the war very fast until one elderly Kong discovered a certain weakness to the Godzillas. He discovered that the Godzillas have a few enemies of their own. The Mutos. Of course, a few Kongs did kill a few Mutos in the process. But this elderly Kong discovered that the Mutos can actually turn off the atomic breath.